Today's episode of Off the Timeline is titled, What If Texas Tech Became an Elite Program Before Anyone Noticed? In 2016, there was one moment, where college football almost broke. Not Alabama, not Clemson, not Ohio State, Texas Tech. And it didn't happen because of a five-star recruit. It didn't happen because of conference realignment. It happened because one coach never left and one quarterback stayed just a little bit longer than he should have. You may be thinking yourself, Texas Tech, a dynasty. Come on. Yeah, that's exactly why this what if scenario could have actually worked. But first, let's set up the timeline that we know. Let's rewind. In the real timeline, Lincoln Riley leaves Texas Tech, goes to Oklahoma, builds a QB factory, and eventually lands at USC. This pipeline's produced Heisman winners, playoff appearances, and basically defines modern offensive football. But what if that pipeline never left Lubbock? And that sets the table for the first change. Riley doesn't leave. Instead of taking the Oklahoma job, he stays at Texas Tech under Cliff Kingsbury a little longer. Not forever, just long enough. And here's the key. Texas Tech doesn't promote him too early. They wait. They let him recruit quietly, build continuity, and learn how to run a full program without the pressure. Then 2016 hits. Kingsbury flames out, and instead of panicking, Texas Tech does something they almost never do. They go internal. Lincoln Riley becomes head coach. No splash hire, no big press conference energy, just continuity. And that's where everything starts to bend. And that sets the table for Mahomes doesn't leave yet, because now Lincoln Riley's not just inheriting a roster, he's inheriting Patrick Mahomes. And here's where this timeline breaks wide open. In real life, Mahomes leaves for the NFL after 2016. In this timeline, he doesn't and stays for his senior year. And you may be thinking, why would a future NFL MVP stay longer? Because something subtle changes. Behind the scenes, Texas Tech boosters start experimenting with something that technically doesn't exist yet. Not NIL, not officially, but something close. We'll call it the Mahomes Clause, which sets the table for the Mahomes Clause and the advantage nobody saw coming. It wasn't illegal. It wasn't even obvious, but it did three things. Keep elite quarterbacks in Lubbock longer, attract transfers who feel overlooked by blue bloods, creates the first true quarterback development ecosystem. And suddenly, Texas Tech isn't just fun offense, it's the place quarterbacks go to become stars. Before Oklahoma becomes that, before USC becomes that, it's already happening quietly in West Texas. And that sets the table for the first ripple effects, or aka the blue blood panic. And this is where things get very uncomfortable because now Oklahoma is still good, but they're not dominant. USC hires for stability instead of upside, and the quarterback pipeline starts adjusting. And nobody can quite explain why. You start hearing things like, why are top quarterbacks visiting Texas Tech? Why are transfers choosing Lubbock? Why does this offense look different? And then the results come. Texas Tech wins 10 games, then 11. Then they're in the conversation, and now you've got a problem. But here's the part nobody talks about. This didn't just change Texas Tech, it forced the SEC to evolve earlier than anyone expected. And that's where this gets dangerous. And that sets the table for when the SEC overcorrects. By the early 2020s, the narrative is clear. Lincoln Riley isn't just a good coach, he's the guy who figured it out first. So when Auburn hits offensive stagnation, they don't hire safe, they don't hire a regional, they go all in and they hire Lincoln Riley. And now the system that started at Texas Tech is dropped directly into the SEC. And you may be thinking, would Auburn actually do that? And after watching Alabama dominate for a decade, and after watching LSU break football, they're absolutely desperate, and yes, they absolutely would. And that sets the table for the cascade. Now everything accelerates. Alabama adapts faster, SEC offenses modernize earlier, the Big 12 becomes chaos instead of hierarchy, and USC is just good. And Texas Tech, they don't disappear. They become the origin story, the place where the system was built, the pipeline was tested, and the sport quietly changed direction. And that sets the table for why this almost and or could have theoretically happened. Because the craziest part, nothing in this what if scenario requires a miracle. No five-star flips, no impossible upsets, just one coach staying, one quarterback staying an extra year, and one school being just early enough to the future. And you may be thinking to yourself, this feels a little too real. That's because it is. So let me ask you, if Texas Tech does this first, does Oklahoma stay as strong? Does USC stay on the same trajectory? And does Auburn actually become the team that finally breaks the SEC balance? Let me know in the comments. And if you want more off the timeline college football alternate history scenarios like this, hit subscribe and check out the next video on your screen now.